stage?
You probably need to.
Can I put it on the stage now?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I think I have to stop sharing my screen.
We had it. Now
Can you reduce your volume?
Maybe now. So I need to put your presentation, right? Yeah.
The phone, the people moving the phone. Yeah, goes down. You're a live streamer, they say. You'll be fun, they say.
It is supposed to be muted. Okay, I'm gonna lower the sound. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Is that still audio? Okay, I think that's it. Yes. Okay, let me just get started. Feel free to continue eating and drinking and do whatever you want. Okay. So, looks like a talk, sounds like a talk, doesn't mean it's a talk. Hello, everybody. So, I'm Guoy. I work as a backend engineer, a Rails backend engineer. You can find me in most social media as Ghosted Human. It's a play on my actual name, so don't worry about it. So how I find myself here was, I'm working overseas right now, and I was coming back, and Helio was like, we need speakers, do you want to talk about anything? I used to co-organize Ruby Tuesdays 2-3 years ago, so I remember the pain of not having speakers and struggling to find people to come give a talk. So like, sure, if you have nobody, I can try something. So here I am. Thinking of a talk topic is a hard software development problem, as thinking of what to have for lunch as well. Okay, so before we start, it would be great if everyone can participate in this, but I'm curious how many of you are here because of the meetup or because the topic is interesting. So can you raise your hand if you didn't care about what talk is going to happen, but you just want to come to the meetup? Okay, most of you, good. Because I had this experience in a recent meetup in Munich, Ruby meetup in Munich as well. So one of the people who attended, because the talk wasn't technical, it was a very surface level about AI, ML in Rails and Ruby. And this person was very disappointed they didn't deep dive into the technical aspect of how do I implement AI, ML libraries inside my Rails app. So I just wanted to get a feel of the participants today. Okay, if you're looking for a technical talk that is action-packed with details, this is not it. If you want to make better use of your time now, there's this new social media that's really hot. You can use it. While I talk away. So, okay, rather than saying what I'm going to talk about, which is not technically related, let me talk about what I hope this talk will achieve. Bear with me for a moment. I know this probably looks wrong in some way, but I thought it was really funny. I was looking for an image about propaganda. I didn't want to use you've probably seen this image of Uncle Sam saying, we want you, but I didn't want to use that image because it's overused. So I was searching for like community propaganda, and this came up with KFC. I was like, okay, this is funny. I think this is funny. I hope this is funny. I'm not trying to promote big cop, go eat chicken kind of thing. I'm not sponsored by KFC, unfortunately. But my hope is this talk will, in some ways, encourage more people to be involved in the community. Involved in what way? Well, specifically giving talks, or more specifically, giving talks at meetup like this. I feel that many people gatekeep themselves when they think about giving talks. Personally, I think people place too high of a bar of themselves when it comes to meetups. Definitely when it comes to conferences, for example, there is a minimum standard that you have to meet. So this is a rejection email I got while trying to apply for a CFP at friendly.rb, which happened in Romania, I think, Budapest, not too long ago. So yeah, and well, the talk I was giving wasn't technical, so I can understand why they rejected me. But I think for meetups, the bar is not as high as anyone would think it is. And it's pretty much a free-for-all. So yeah. So this whole GIF or video, if you pronounce it GIF, I don't care. But this whole video is about making fried shrimp tempura and essentially using a flamethrower and stuff to do it in, I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that. But what I placed this here was, I do think speaking in a meetup helps a lot with experimentation. And because of the lower barrier of entry, feel free to try anything. For example, figuring out your style. You can take multiple meetup talks to figure out what kind of presentation style that you're comfortable with. Experiment with what gives you comfort in capturing an audience, and also what kind of format that can deliver the point you want. As you've seen so far, I've just been using memes all the while. I think some of you might not resonate with this. Okay, let's awkwardly stare at the newcomer. Pizzas are still available, please eat. Yeah. Take me, for an example. I'm treating this talk as an experiment. I'm thinking about doing this like stand-up. Well, not your daily stand-up. I'm not sure how you all do your stand-ups, but I do not do this even though I work in a fitness app company. Yes, still not about your daily stand-up. No story points, no estimation. More like stand-up comedy. Okay, I'll stop now. I'm the joke. So one of the things I really love about Ruby is there isn't a single way to do things. I think some languages, some frameworks kind of dictate that there's only a single way to do things. Take, for example, the string class in Ruby. One of the most common use class we use every day. And there are aliases everywhere that you can use different method names to kind of achieve the same thing. So as you see, this screenshot is actually from the Ruby string class. So you can see the size. You can use size and length, it does the same thing. You can use slice or empty array, it does the same thing. I also want to highlight, even though when you think about Ruby, you draw a direct relation with Ruby on Rails, I want to highlight that there are alternatives out there. And alternatives are a good source of meetup topic materials. Let's take, for example, Sidekick. If you are new to Ruby or Rails, you probably don't know what it is, but it's a simple, efficient background processing for Ruby. I've worked for 3 Ruby companies, and all of them use Sidekick. Sure, everyone uses Sidekick, but not everyone wants to host Redis, or maybe they have totally different requirements that they don't really need to use Sidekick for. So I know Good Job is a much used alternative as well. And this gem exists not because of the sake of having an alternative. There are companies and for-profit organizations that are using this in their production deployment, and it is being actively maintained. Even Rails have alternatives like Sinatra and Hanami, which you might be surprised that a lot of companies use this framework for customer-facing production workload, even within Southeast Asia as well. I also love that Ruby has so much depth to it. Web development is just the tip of the iceberg in Ruby. For example, do you know Ruby supports microcontroller programming? So there is a very small and lean runtime that you can put inside microcontrollers to run code on. There are a few online materials about this, especially I think in Ruby Kaigi and RubyConf, there are a few videos about using this to program keyboards as well. Do you know that Dragon Ruby, a game engine of sorts, exists? I personally haven't used it before, but it is there if anybody is interested. So I brought up all these alternatives, and me personally, I haven't done any talk about this. So why is that? Well, we all have limited time, and same as everybody, I also have limited mental capacity. While I like Ruby and generally like coding, but doing it as a job is enough for me to call it a day. I want to do other things when I go back after work. So preparing such a talk, understandably, would require time and effort. Many people tend to take topic from what they're doing in work, be it upgrading Rails, or improving performance or production bug. It's not a diss, by the way, not a diss. I really love the talk. I'm referring to Amri's previous talk about upgrading Rails, yes. However, this happens over a long span of time, right? This thing, whether it's fixing a production bug or upgrading Rails, has to happen in the organization first, and then someone has to be motivated enough to present to an external crowd. So this is the only technical slide I have in the whole slide deck, which is in Rails, we often have to check for if an object is present or not. And well, in active support, there is a presence method that you can use where if the thing doesn't exist, it will return new. If the thing exists, you return the object. I find this useful like in controllers, for example. So if you already know about this, good. If you don't know, then TIL, I guess. All right, let's also not forget that there are people who are new to Ruby and picking it up every day. And I think beginners topic in meetups are always welcome. Sure, you cannot satisfy everybody with a beginner's talk. Right? Someone who has been doing Rails for more than 5 years might not be interested in you talking about active record basics or stuff like that. But so what? They are not your audience. Your audience is other beginners, other people who are interested in learning about the language, learning about the framework. Personally, I would like to see a vibrant and diverse community in Ruby, regardless of geological location. One that is inclusive and beginner-friendly. So if we only focus on intermediate and advanced topics, how do we expect the community to grow? And there's always that chicken and egg problem where, oh, we want to hire Rails engineers, but there isn't a beginner job, or we can't hire junior Rails engineers because they aren't juniors. A whole lot of discussion, I'm not getting into that. So if you're new to Ruby, talk about arrays, talk about hashes in Ruby, share how to use active record in Rails. Sure, I would say maybe 80% of us here know it and use it. But viewing things through the lens of a beginner is very important as well. So there's my talk. Again, I hope that this talk achieved like motivating people to share what they know or don't know for future meetups.
There we go. All right, so no sound. So let's see here now. And
Now I hear you.
okay, there you go. I was okay. All right. And okay, so let me. So you need to make sure you're staying around the same area, so don't go off the camera, Mister. All right. Okay, let's hear from Helmi from Chip.
Hello everyone. I'm Helmi from CHIP. So I'll take like 5 minutes of your time to introduce CHIP. Okay. So
Next.
slide, please. Okay. Basically, people know us as a payment gateway, but we try to be more than that. So as you can see, we have payment gateway, business expense, treasury, and risk management. So we try to be like a digital bank, but not be a digital bank, something like that. Okay, next one. So just to share our tech stacks, our backend is will be on Rails and deployed to Elastic Beanstalk. And then we have Golang, deployed to Lambda. Front end, we have Next.js, Remix, React Native for mobile. Database, we use Postgres, and we also use ClickHouse. CMS plugins, the major ones like WordPress, Fluent Forms, everything is on PHP. And we have PCI DSS level 1 certified, and also ongoing ISO for ISMS. Okay. So this is like a showcase of what we do. This is Chip Collect. Basically, is the payment gateway part. So we have a couple of APIs, for example, recurring tokenization. We also support offline payments and international payments. Yeah. Okay. So these are the payment methods and their rates. So next, please. And then we have chip expense. So this is basically like a app to manage your expenses. So for example, a company, you give your staff an allowance, so they can use the app to like scan QR to buy pisang goreng, for example. So because in the market, apps like this usually uses credit card, which is obviously not suitable for like hawker stores. Okay, so this is the app. It's still in beta mode. Okay, next one. Okay. And then we have ChipSend. ChipSend is bulk transfer, real time. So we help merchants to transfer real time transfers using Do It Now. So everything is via the API. So you hit the API, the money goes in. Okay, next one. And then this one is chip compliance. So it's basically like white labeling our onboarding feature. So yeah, so we have around 600 merchants, but only 10 people. So we don't have a sales team. So instead, we empower people like you guys to become our reference. Next one. So it's like you build apps, you code, and then you refer your clients to us, and then you get referral commissions for each transaction. So it's valid for 3 years. So if you're interested, you just go to chipinasia/refer. So, yeah. Okay, that's all from me.
All right. Thank you so much, Helm. All right. So let me get back here to changing my screen. So I'm going to stop sharing. Now we have audio. It's all good. Let me move the camera back here. I'm just going to be sitting on my laptop. Let me see how. All right, that looks good. Okay, let me share my screen here now, and let's bring the final speaker of the night. I'm gonna share my not my Chrome tab. I'm gonna share my whole screen. That's it. All right. We had Guoy talk. We have Helmer from Chip, and now I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about app subdomain routing. To piggyback a little bit on Guoy's talk, what is my style of talking, right? So this particular one is something that I was working on in the past couple weeks. And one of the applications that I built, my passkey application that I joined the hackathon, we built like a fancy marketing website, and then we merged them together. I merged them together, right? And that's when I got to do about app subdomain routing. So another interesting thing that I want to piggyback on Guoy's talking is that you guys should all come and talk. And you see, he's going to see here today, my talk is very simple, very light. It's not like the 2 hours that I talked about passkeys the other day. So this is going to be a very, very easy talk. And I did not prepare slides this time. So I'm sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you guys some code, and I'm going to talk to you guys. Maybe I'm going to show you my passkeys demo, because that's the application that I did this app subdomain routing thing. So, I think you should definitely bring things you're working on. When I call you guys for speakers in the Slack, it's like, hey, are you installing a gem? If you're installing a gem, come talk to us about it. I work with software for like 22 years, but I started blogging 3 months ago. And so now every time I need to come to prepare a talk for the meetup, I'm going to write a blog post, and I'm going to write a talk, and then I'm going to come here. So that's what I've been trying to do. So if you want to read about these app subdomain routing talk that I give to you, there is an article that you can check it out, and is that one. If you find the URL over there, that's me, and that's it. So now let's get into our talk. And I don't have a slides today, so I'm just gonna keep showing you guys my screen, right? And all right, let's okay. So let's see what we can do here. So oops, okay, and. No, not that. This is what I need to do. Okay, so what I'm talking today here is about app subdomain routing, right? So you have your website like this, right? Your marketing website, spkm.com. That's my passkeys app, and I have my Rails application in app.spkm.com. So if you want, and then my main problem here is that when I was bundling these two applications, right? CMS marketing website with a homepage and about page with my Rails app that I built for the hackathon, the passkey thing. I was like, now I need my website routes on my routes RP, right? But if I just add all of them, they kind of become available to my Rails app. And that's not what I want. I want to keep the website routes available for spkeyman.com, and I want the Rails app routes available only for app.sp.com, spkeyman.com, right? So that was my motivation. That's what I wanted to do. And the way you do that is in your routes RB, that's what you do. You create a constraints subdomain false, like there is no subdomain for these routes. And then I have my root index, I have my about and home about page. And then this is my existing app, right? See, I have device, I have all my passkeys stuff here, all the passkeys routes. These routes are only available if you navigate app.spkeyman.com. And I have more things here. I have the profile, which is your user profile page. I have a challenge page in this SPKeyman app, this passkeys app that I created. I created this idea of a challenge. And there's some routes in here. There's a resource in there, there's an answer. So someone is challenging someone else, and someone is going to answer, someone else is going to answer that. There is a dashboard, and there is an organization's resource with a few other things. So I didn't want to have to create rules in my applications controller to ensure these routes are only available in the app subdomain. And then I remember, oh, I know that Rails has a thing about constraints in subdomain. I think I've used these, I don't know, a long time ago. And when I was doing these, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to use that. And guess what? I need to prepare a talk, right, for the next Ruby Tuesday meetup. So that's it. That's going to be my talk. So this is basically what you do in your routes IP, right? So you create your subdomain false, you create your subdomain app, and then these routes are only going to be available to one or another. And if you go to, let me see if I can show my screen here. Okay, there you go. Is it big enough? Okay. So if I do Rails routes, this is what it shows up, right? I have home and about. Those are my website routes. And then I have all the whole Rails application, right? Has device, has all the device routes, and they are available to subdomain application, subdomain app. So if your application has an API subdomain, then you would use API. Or if you have an admin, that's what you do. And in my case, it's app, right? So let's go back to app. And if you are in the root subdomain and you try to access a route from the Rails application, from my passkeys application, you get the typical Rails route not found. The typical errors, Rails error, like, hey, I don't have these route because you're in the root domain, right? And so these routes, and that's the other thing that I wanted. I don't want to have to manage myself which route is available in one domain versus the routes that were in the other subdomain. I want Rails to do that by themselves, so I don't need to manage. And that's how you do it, right? So as soon as you do these, your next problem starts. How I'm going to develop these, right? How I'm going to have my development environment set up for that. So then comes my local host environment, right? So then that's kind of what you need to do. Local host your laptop knows, right? It's 127.0.0.1. It's all configured. If you use localhost 3000, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything. If you are not using localhost.com, and that's what I need to do, right? So I wanted spkeyman.localhost to be the website, and I wanted app.spkeyman.localhost to be the Rails application. So you need to use some Linux skills for that. So there is this file here in your Mac or in your Windows, on your Mac, on your Linux. This is a Linux thing. This is not a Mac, and this is not a Ruby thing. So in this file, etc routes, you can create. You see, localhost is here. That's how your browser knows localhost. So right, and so you have to create spkeyman.localhost to go to 0.0.1, and you have to create app.spkeyman.localhost to be your application. And then this is what I use for the staging. There's a little detail about the staging, and because in this scenario, routes, constraints, subdomain routing, the staging environment has a specific scenario. I use these to kind of see what I need to do for my staging environment, and then so I test it up over here as well. I create these as well. And you can create whatever you want here. And everything that you do here, the same way that your local host works, they are going to work as well. But Rails need an extra thing, right? So when you do that, local host, Rails know how to do it. But where is that? Development or development. So you need to configure Rails with one more thing, right? So you need to configure hosts. You need to tell Rails that, hey, if someone comes to you as spkman.localhost or app.spkman.localhost, you should know. By default, Rails knows localhost. If you're using something different, you need to come here and configure. So, and then once you do that, and you create these in etc hosts, and you open these up here on development RB, then now you can go to your browser, and then you see I was poking around here today, looking for some stuff. And then you have these things working for you, right? app.spkm.localhost 3000. Oh, sorry. So, oh, okay. So let me. So then, okay. So once you do all that setup, now I can use my Rails application app.spkman.localhost. And this is the application, right? So this is the passkeys application that I did for the hackathon, for the Bank Negada hackathon a couple of months ago. And these are typical Rails application, device, and passkeys stuff, right? And then if I sign out, then I have the website. And then the website is like that site that I showed you in my localhost, right? spkman.localhost 3000. And then if I go about and I talk a little bit about the hackathon, there is some interesting pictures. I got second place in the hackathon. Look at that. So it was good. I wasn't first, but it was second. I'm happy. So now you have the site here, right? And everything does. And now look at this. If I go into my, remember, spkm.localhost is my main website, my marketing website. If I go users, okay, hold on, localhost. If I go users sign in, which is my device, sign in the root domain, I get no route found because that route is not available for that root domain, for the root URL. That's what the constraint subdomain app and constraint subdomain new does for you. The home and the about routes, they are available for you. So you don't need, you let Rails deal with that. You don't need to do anything. Now, if I do app.spkm and I go into the subdomain, right, where the application is, where device is, and everything else is, then I get the login page. If I go back here, that's what this get started button does. This get started button take you to the Rails application, and that's the passkeys thing. You sign in with your finger. It's really cool, really awesome passkeys thing. Then you're there, and then you are here. All these things, right? You see profile, right? Profile is available on the app subdomain. If I take this app subdomain out of here, and I try to access that in the main application, guess what I'm going to have? Route not found. That route, that profile route is my Rails application. But by the way, everything here is one single monolith application. There isn't two applications. It's one single application. But the routes for the marketing website and for the Rails app that we built for the hackathon a couple of months ago, they are separate in different subdomains. So with this scenario now, I can deploy these to my production environment, and then every time someone is navigating the marketing website at spkman.com, the only route that they're going to see are the marketing website. When they click and navigate to the app subdomain, then they will see the Rails application that has challenge, organizations, profile, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to talk to you guys today. Let me see if I'm running out of time, because I have the, what time is my talk? 8:30 to 9. It's 8:30 now. So we started a little earlier. What happened? Anyway, let me go back here to one other thing that I want to mention to you guys. So there is another interesting detail here, which is your staging environment, right? I don't have, let me see here. I don't have, this application doesn't have a staging. So I'm going to set up the staging here for us to try this out in my development environment so you guys can see one little thing about this subdomain stuff. So on my staging, so my staging URLs are, there is, so I don't have a staging here. Okay, so I'm going to use only this guy. Only the application. I don't have the site. So I'm in my development environment here. I'm going to add this other thing. And now I also have that staging environment. And now in the development, there is one more thing that I need to do. And let's see here what's going to happen, right? So then supposedly I have app.staging happening here, right? So that's where I want to test my staging environment, right? So my staging URL is going to be like this. HTTP, like my staging local environment, right? app.staging.spkman. And then my website, which I don't have that here, but maybe we can check that out. It's going to be like this, right? So now in staging, that's how I want it works. And so instead of development, you have a staging environment, and then you're going to do app.staging that environment as well. And over here, so I'm gonna restart. Let me see. I may need to restart these, but I may not need to restart it, but I will do it anyway. So let's see what's gonna happen here. Okay, so it's not finding my profile, right? And look, I am in the app.staging.spkman localhost. I'm supposed to be in my Rails application. The reason why this is not working is because of this little thing here that I'm going to have to look up the article that I wrote and see where that is configuration. There is this thing here. Action dispatch has a TLD length that by default, I think this is 1. But for staging, okay, so let me do one other thing here. I'm going to make this application to work, right? So you see, we're getting a route not found here. No route. There's nothing in profile, but the application, the profile is in the Rails application. So the way you make that work without changing the TLD length configuration is by doing this app.staging. Because what Rails is considering as your subdomain, it's app.staging, because TLD length is, I think, is default to 1. That means that everything that's behind the second one becomes your subdomain. So now if I do this, I think it's going to work. Let's see if that's true. There we go. I got to the profile, and now I'm not authenticated on that, or I don't have a passkeys on this URL, so the passkey is not going to work. But look at here. Now, and if I go back to my Rails routes, oh my gosh, my Rails routes. It shows app.staging, but that's not what we want to do, right? I don't want to have to my route to be app.staging. I want my route in staging to still be the subdomain, to still be app. And the way you do that is through this guy here. So when you change that configuration to be true, I'm going to put over here. I also don't think I needed to. Okay, so if I do this, that's going to fail. I think someone sent a message in the chat. Okay, no, maybe this time around, that might be, I may need to restart. And so now it's going to fail because I have the TLD length set to 2. So Rails is considering that my subdomain, it's app, but my routes, it still shows app.subdomain, app.staging. So now if I delete this guy, and then I refresh my page, I get back to it. So when you change that action dispatch TLD length to true, what Rails is going to do is like he's going to ignore these, ignore these, ignore these, and then he's going to take this app as a subdomain. So then your Rails routes stays as app for local and staging. Even though in local you have app.spkman, and in your staging you have app.staging.spkman. Yeah. Anyway, let me get back to my article here, my blog post, and see what else I wrote, if there's anything else that I want to talk to you guys about. Oh, there's a few issues with device that I feel like it worth some open source contributions. I think device is not fully, it doesn't fully support new things in Rails 7 when you redirect between spkm.localhost to app.spkman.localhost, or the other way around, right? So you're in device app.spkman.localhost, and you log out, you want to redirect the user back to the marketing website, which is a different domain. And in Rails now, in Rails 7, that is an unsafe redirect because you redirect between two domains. And device doesn't have a good support for that, but I don't want to talk too much about it. There's some issues in there that in this setup and in the article as well that I didn't touch. That is one of them. And maybe there's some work to be done on device that I can also make out from this talk. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk today. And if you have any question, I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you all. Questions? Anything?
How do you build an application?
Huh?
Authentication.
Authentication. So these applications use device. So I just put device in and then do all the device authentication. This application also has passkeys. So I don't use password. This is like fully passkeys. No, there's no password. So I use another device, another gem device passkeys that actually tap into the device strategy to do the passkeys authentication instead of password authentication. Any other question?
How many people are familiar with passkeys?
Raise your hand here if you know what passkeys is.
All right, then you can talk about it.
I did talk about it in a couple months ago in another Ruby Tuesday. I gave a talk about passkeys, and I spoke for like an hour and 45 minutes.
Very quick.
Very quick. It was a very quick. There was no other speaker. I didn't have any help, and so I spoke for an hour and 45 minutes. And
What would be a very, very short summary of passkeys?
all right. That is the very so. I wrote a talk here. I gave a talk at Ruby Tuesday about passkeys, what are actually passkeys. And I'm also going to RubyConf Thailand tomorrow, and I'm going to speak at RubyConf Thailand about passkeys. So I can pull up my deck here from my conference. Oh, let me see. Maybe I shouldn't. But okay, so this is the deck. This is the deck from the Ruby Tuesday meetup from passkeys. So there is one here. There is one sentence here. So this is the whole deck, right? Passkeys iceberg, what are passkeys? So this is the best, okay, here, passkeys. This is the best definition that I have that explains passkeys. Passkeys is a list of public and private key used for a challenge response, challenge-based authentication. Is a replacement for passwords. Passkeys is a standard that was designed to replace or to reduce the over-reliance on passwords. Passwords are complicated to manage, easy to guess. It's easy for you, for the 95% of the population that doesn't use password managers. It's impossible to have unique and strong passwords across all the websites. Passkeys is a solution for that problem. It's a lot more intuitive than passwords, and it's a lot safer and more secure than passwords.
So the problem with passwords is if you follow the recommendation of having strong passwords for every website and a different one for every website, the usability is kind of suffers because you can't remember all of that. So you depend on a password manager.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the patience to like have a password manager, and plus the difficulties if you use multiple devices to have access to all different passwords. And
Exactly.
passkeys comes to solve that, right?
Come to solve that. And I have an example, screenshot that I can show you guys here. So this is a report from NordPass about the top 200 most common password from 2019 to 2021. So the most common password in 2021 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This password takes a split second for a hacker to crack this password if the database gets exposed. And it's easy to guess. If you look at 2022 and 2023, the most common passwords are the same.
Let's do this. I give a brief explanation of what I understand about passkeys, and you correct where it's wrong.
Okay.
So similar, the idea of public-private is similar to the way that SSH authentication works, where you have not exactly like that, but you have a private key. You add your public key to the server,
Yep.
and through that you can communicate. It expands that using one per website. So if I visit the website on my phone and I register the
Passkeys.
passkey on the device, my device will exchange a key pair with that website. The website will register, okay, that device, I have the public key of that device.
Yep. For that user.
For that user on that device, it's per device, right?
So there's two ways. You have a device-bound passkeys, and you have a passkeys that's not device-bound. It's bound is assigned to you as your person, your cloud account.
Right. So, and then on my device, I have something. The touch key is something that there's some security mechanics on my device that all the private keys that I have for websites that I register using passkey will be encrypted, and I unlock it using the fingerprint or a password or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the flow. So when you are signing up for in a passkeys website, the browser in your operational system, your phone is going to create a public and private key. The private key stays in your device, and in most of the cases, is synchronized with your Apple account, Google account, and so on and so forth. So it's protected by Apple. In my case, I have an iPhone as well. And the public keys goes to the website. So next time you're signing in, and then during the process, your device, whether your laptop or your phone, validate your biometrics. And then when you are signing in, after you have an account, they do the challenge-based authentication, which is the public key encryption protocol.
The challenge-based is they send you something and say like, this signing with
Yeah.
the key that you have.
Yeah.
And then you respond like, they give you like a challenge like full. Please sign the string full with your key. You
Yes.
send the signature back.
And then,
Something else.
yeah, exactly. Like, so the signing is exactly like that. So the and this is public key encryption that was invented in the 1970s. So you have a public key and private key. So the challenge-based authentication is now you go to a website, the website is going to challenge you so you can prove that you are you. And the way it does that is the way you explain. They send you a dummy data. Hello, Carlos. Can you sign this text with your private key? Okay, all right, I'm going to sign that for you. And then you use your device biometrics, your browser and your device, access your private key from your cloud account, sign that data with your private key, and that becomes your digital signature, and then sends a digital signature to the website. What the website does is, okay, all right, Carlos is here. There's a person here pretending to be Carlos, and he signed a digital signature supposedly with his private key. And then if I can decrypt that signature with Carlos' public key that I stored during the registration process, then it's Carlos. And that's what happens. So you decrypt, the website is going to decrypt that data, and then it's going to get back, hello, Carlos. And then it checks out, you signed that with your private key.
And how does it work? The first time I visit the website, I haven't registered my device yet. The first time I visit, how do I do the authentication? There was no public private key exchange?
I can demo that. So that's this is what this app does. This SP Keyman app does. So let me see if I can get back to my demo here into good standing. Okay, so there's some time. Okay, I think that the when I change development RB, I need to restart. Okay, there you go. So this is how sign up works, right? So I'm going to a passkeys website, SP Keyman. This is the thing that I created for the hackathon. I'm going to create an account. And then I am Helio at demo.rubytuesday. That's my email. And I'm going to create a passkey label just to label these passkeys. So this is sign up on a website that uses passkeys and doesn't use password. By the way, this is the same application that I talked about, app subdomain and all these stuff. So I'm going to put whatever label. I don't care. No, just demoing. So here I'm creating my account. So what I'm going to do here, I'm signing up for a service. And I'm giving my email because the key authentication key is email for this application. It could be username and account ID. And then I'm going to sign up. When I click sign up, the website, the browser, and my devices are going to do what I usually call the public and private key encryption dance, which is like, okay, the browser is going to create a passkeys, it's going to store the private key in my Apple account, and it's going to give to the website the public key. So that's what's going to happen here. In order to do that, it does my biometrics. Like, you see, so it's asking for my biometrics. Like, hey, Helio, in order for you to do passkeys, you need to first validate that you're you. So if I put the wrong finger, it's not Helio's right finger. I have this finger configured on my Mac.
The biometrics is for access to the keychain.
The biometrics is part of the whole passkeys flow. In order for you to initiate the passkeys process, you need to validate. You need to do a biometric validation on your device. In my case, my device is my laptop, right? So it's using my biometrics. Like, hey, are you Helio? I want to know that.
But the fingerprint or whatever biometrics you use is not part of it's in no way related to the public-private key.
No.
It's just access to the keychain where the private key is going to be stored.
And for you to do passkeys, this way, I'm not talking about password managers. Password managers are going to change a little bit of what I'm talking here. Passkey is the native passkey support built by Apple, Google, and Microsoft in Apple MacBooks, iPhones, Android phones, Safari, Chrome, and Microsoft Edge. In order for you to create passkeys or to use a passkey, you need to first biometric you. And then after that's done, it's like, okay, I have someone here in this device that Apple, MacBooks, the whole Apple ecosystem, validated that biometrics. After that is successful, then starts the public-private key thing.
Okay.
So now I'm going to put my right finger, the correct finger that I have configured in this laptop. So when I do that, now my browser, Safari, in my MacBook is going to create a public and private key. It's going to store the private key on my iCloud, and it's going to send the public key to my Rails application.
Right.
Good.
If you click on that other option,
yes, other options is like you can use your iPhone. So instead of, if I don't have device biometrics on this laptop, I can use my iPhone, and then my iPhone is going to Face ID me, not Touch ID. Or I can use a security key. If I have a YubiKey key, I can use that instead of the biometrics. I can use other things. So I'm going to use that. Now I'm going to put in my right finger, right? Yeah, to some extent. Here, you can say that the Touch ID is in order for me to get access to my iCloud. Because when I put my finger, Apple knows, oh, I know this finger. These fingers is associated with Helio's iCloud keychain account.
Right.
Yeah. And now it created as a passkeys, a public and a private key, and then authenticated. So this is the sign up. So the sign up in passkeys, you needed to put your email or your username, which is your authentication key, a label just to say what's the name of this passkey, And then you consent your browser and your operational system to create a passkeys and you do your biometrics on your device, and you consent your browser to create a public and private key and do all the thing.
Right. So, but that's the flow if you sign up on
Yep.
the service that does this. But if I come in with a different device and I want to log into the same account, like I'm traveling, I'm on my parents' house, I get their tablet or whatever, and I want to log in.
So you can use your other device, right? Clicking other device. So that's what happens, right? I'm on a whatever laptop. I go to Guoy's laptop. I enter into this website. And then over there, I'm gonna sign in with my phone. I'm Guoy's laptop. My finger is not there. That's his laptop or a public website. So I'm gonna use that other option, and I'm gonna go to my iPhone. And then here's what happened. I click on continue. Oh, I need to turn on Bluetooth. And then this is what happens. It shows me this QR code. So now what do? I get my phone. I scan the QR code. My phone is going to validate my face, right? That's my cell phone that has my face configured there. And then I'm going to the iPhone is going to authenticate my face. And after authenticate my face, it's going to do the public private key dance. It's going to get access. So the website is going to send the text, my cell phone, on my cell phone, my browser is going to get access to my private key now that I did the Face ID. It's going to encrypt that. It's going to send to the website. The website is going to decrypt with my public key, and then it signs me in. So you do that through that other option and then through your device. Any device that I have, any Apple device that I have, that I key in my iCloud account, those passwords show up. So if you look at the passwords app here, passwords app, and if I look at, so I'm going to do a Touch ID here.
I'm more curious about devices where you don't have access to the same keychain.
What is the account that I created here? So
I know some websites have hybrid setup. You can log in with passkeys and you can log in with a username and password.
So that's the passkey that you just created. Helio demo. That's it. So you wanna sign in with a device
I'm
that.
curious about the scenario in which I'm using a device that does not have access to the keychain. Like what you said is like if I use my phone that has access to the same iCloud data, then okay, it has access to my keychain and it can use the.
So if you sign up, if you create the account using your iCloud account, and you synchronize your private key in your iCloud and keychain, so in that scenario, you're only going to be able to sign into Apple through a device that has your Apple account. If you're using any other device, so password manager is starting to adopt passkeys now. So you could store your private key in your password manager. So then, but then any device that you go, you need to have your password managed there. Like we need password managed in your cell phone if you want to use the password you can in your password manager. But that's kind of what we're saying, right? So you can be on this device. I'm using this laptop. I need to open my Gmail on this laptop. You can use your passkeys from your phone using that QR code.
Right. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so I know a thing or two about passkeys. The other day I gave. Does anybody has any question about passkeys? The other day I talked for an hour and a half about passkeys, and it's live on YouTube. If you go to Engineers Mind and you find the Ruby KL meetup, the recordings are there. It was like an hour and a half talking. My throat was better then. Anyway, I'm already talking too much. Any other question? Any question about passkey? Any question about Ruby? All right, that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. All right, so now I need to go back to the final of the ending of our Ruby Tuesday meetup. we have this thing called parking lot that where people talk about whatever they are doing. Does anybody has anything here that you want to share that you're doing on the side or anything that they wanted to share? So there's one thing that I'm doing. I already mentioned. I'm going to RubyConf Thailand tomorrow, and I'm going to meet Matt, the creator of Ruby. I'm going to make sure that I stand in line whatever time it takes to take a picture of him. So I'm going to be there. That's kind of what I'll be doing for the rest of my week, other than working. Anything else? Anything you want to share? Anything? All right. Hiring shout outs. Chip is hiring a junior developer. And if you're interested, if you know anybody that's looking for a junior position, Chip is hiring. And let me see what else I have here. And that's it, folks. Now is the end of our meetup. Thank you all for coming. Thank you everybody that came online. Oh, we may have questions online. Thanks for sharing, Helio. No, there's just thanks for sharing. Someone thanks for sharing. I think that's it. Thanks for sharing. No, Hardy. Oh, show. Yeah, that's someone saying this. EKCG. I don't know who that is. But that's it. Thank you all so much. See you guys next month.